Hello everyone. I hope you all are safe and healthy. Today we are going to discuss chapter number 1, accounting and its terminology. We have already uploaded 4 different parts for this particular chapter. This is the fifth and the last part of this particular chapter. Okay, so let's start the session. Now, the next terminology is solvent. Now, what is called as solvent? Finally, in the previous part, last thing which we have discussed, that is about bad debt. Now, what is called as bad debt? If someone is not paying the amount which he has taken for some time, that means if he have purchased some goods from us and he told that we are going to pay the amount within 10 days and he is not paying the amount, so that will be considered as a bad debt in the business. Bad debt is not a kind of expense, it's a loss for the business. So finally, the person who makes the bad debt, if he is making a bad debt in continuous nature, that means his financial stability is not there, so that will be considered as insolvent. Let's see first what is called as solvent. In any accounting, a person who pays his financial obligations regularly, that means if he has given some credit for 30 days or 40 days, he is paying the amount within that particular day. So that means he is regular in his time. So that is considered as a solvent person. Okay, that person will be considered as a solvent one. What is called as insolvent? Let's take an example of a bad debt. If someone is doing bad debt for a continuous time, then his financial obligation are not regular in nature, as well as if his assets are not more than the liabilities, that means their liabilities are more than the assets, then that person will be known as insolvent person. But who can declare them that particular person is a insolvent in nature? Only a court can declare that that person is a insolvent in nature. Otherwise we cannot treat him like an he is an insolvent person. We have to give him goods on credit. If he is not ready or he is not able to pay and you know the condition, then you have to file a case against him in a court, and if court decides that that person is insolvent, then only you can work like he is insolvent, we are not going to pay you any kind of amounts of goods. Okay, so that is about insolvent. Next one, that is debit and credit. The whole accounting system depends on these two rules of debit and credit. Okay, so we follow the double entry accounting system. One entry is given in a debit side and second is given on a credit side. If we do it on a correct way, then both the sides will definitely match. Okay, so left hand side will be known as your debit side and the right hand side will be known as your credit side. Any account, if you write anything on a left hand side, that is debit side, and if anything you are written on a right hand side, then it will be considered as your credit side. Last terminology of this particular chapter, what is called as account. Now we are studying account, so we should know what is called as account. Any kind of business transaction or anything which we are doing frequently, we have to mention it. Any kind of event or any kind of transaction, we have to mention it on a debit side or a credit side of the accounts. So finally, the table which has debit side and a credit side, both the sides, that will be considered as your account. So what is ultimately account? All the transaction pertaining to the respective item or a person is recorded at one place and from where the summary of transactions of that items or persons can be obtained, that is called as accounts. For example, I have sold some goods to Mr. X. Okay, so Mr. X is a regular customer. He is purchasing on frequent basis. That means in a week he is coming to our shop and he purchases some goods from us. We are giving him some amount till the credit. So ultimately, we know there are 50 or 60 transactions he is doing in a year. So how we are going to manage that? We have to prepare his account. Okay, so whatever amount or whatever the goods he has taken, we are going to write on a debit side, and whatever amount he has paid for that particular goods or the cash, we are going to record it on a credit side. So this way we are going to manage the accounts. So anything which is pertaining to the item or the person, if it is recorded on a one place, the whole summary is of that particular transaction can be obtained from that place, then it is called as your accounts. Okay. Now, most important question, what are the methods for preparing any kind of accounts? So basically there are two methods which we are following in India. First one, that is Desi Nama system, or in Gujarati we will use the word Desi Nama Paddhati. Okay, Desi Nama system, and second one, that is double entry system. Now the Desi Nama is too much, like in ancient times we are using that. Okay, at presently many of them, it is both those systems are allowed. Okay, you can make your books of account from Desi Nama Paddhati, as well as you can make in double accounting entry systems. But what is preferable? The more preferable is double entry accounting system. Why? Because we have to just put an entry in a computer and everything can be done with the help of that. Where the Desi Nama is a manual writing work. Ultimately, you have to write everything and finally you have to publish report by going to a chartered accountant, and then he will publish everything. So this is more like more costly, more time consuming. Everything is difficult in Desi Nama Paddhati. So what we are following? We are following double entry system. Both the systems are allowed in the accounting practices. Okay. Now, on what basis or what system we are using? So basically two system, Desi Nama and the double entry. But double entry system has three different bases of accounting method. One is mercantile base, second is a cash base, and third one, that is mixed base. Now what is called as mercantile base? Let's see. What is called as mercantile or accrual base? All the transactions which are respective to this particular year are going to be considered in this year only. Okay, so this is about the mercantile basis or the accrual basis. For example, here it is, one example is written. Assume that the accounts are prepared for the period of 1/4/2019 to 31st March 2020. A salary of 5,000 is paid every month. If the salary of March month is not paid, then what kind of entry we are going to give? So ultimately we are paying the salary 5,000 every month. What will be the total? 5,000 multiplied by 12 is equal to 60,000, but we have only paid for 11 months. So ultimately it is 55,000, but 5,000 is outstanding. But it is written, we are making the books of account on the basis of mercantile or the accrual basis. Whether we are going to pay or not in that particular month, we have to close the books of account by end of the month. That's why we have to make an entry, salary outstanding for March 5,000 rupees, and we have to consider 60,000 as a final value. As we have only paid 55,000, but we will show salary expense for the year as a 60,000 because we are following accrual or a mercantile based method. The next one, that is cash or receipt method. Now what is called as cash or receipt method? Every transaction which is related with the cash terminology, that means if it is a cash receipt, cash payment, any time of cash liabilities, any time of assets which are purchased in cash, everything for this current year or previous year, everything is going to be written, whether it is paid for this particular year or paid for the previous year, but it is paid on a such time, then cash receipt base we will discuss, and we will put that accounts in put that entries in the books of accounts. Then third word, that is your hybrid method or the mixed method. Now what is called as hybrid method? So ultimately this is a modified method of a mercantile one, where we are mixing both the concepts, one that is mercantile system concept and cash concept. We are merging both of together. But this is not so much popular and we are not going to follow this method as well. Okay, so we are going to follow two types of method, one that is mercantile based method and cash method. Okay. Now, the last question for this particular chapter, what are the steps to prepare an accounts? The step number one, that is voucher. Second, identification of transaction. Third one, we will prepare general accounts. Then we will do ledger posting. Fifth, trial balance and adjustment. And sixth one, that is final accounts we are going to prepare, where we are preparing trading account, profit and loss, and balance sheet. Don't worry, when the school resumes, we will discuss this particular thing in detail. But just for your knowledge, understand this. The first step, that is voucher. Now voucher, it's a written document. So anything which is happen in the business, we have to mention it with the help of voucher. If there is a voucher, we are going to put the entry in our books. Second, identification of transaction. Now what is called as identification of transaction? So whether the transaction is economic in nature or non-economic in nature, we have to observe that. Then second, if the transaction is in cash form or if it is in credit form, we also have to observe that as well. Okay. So second step is we are going to analyze it, or we are going to identify which kind of transaction it is. Third one, what we are doing, we are putting journal entries. Now what is called as journal entries? We are recording the transaction on this particular stage. So there are some general ledgers, there are some subsidiary books in which we are going to put the entries. Fourth one, the fourth step, that is posting in ledger. What doing? We are doing some ledger posting. That means we are preparing such accounts for that particular one. That means if it is a transaction related with cash, then we are only going to record cash related methods in it. Okay. Then if it is related with the stationery, then only we are going to put the entries related with the stationery expense and all. Okay. So this is just putting the correct entry in the correct account. Fifth one, that is trial balance. Now what is trial balance? Trial balance, that means at end of the year we are finally sending our balance, which was closing balance of the fourth step. We are transferring it on a final preparation of the account. So that is called as trial balance, and we will match that. If there is any kind of mistakes, we are going to find out from that only. Okay. So that is our fifth step. And the last one, that is your annual accounts. Annual accounts, that means your financial statements. By end of the year, we are preparing our financial statements. So in that we are preparing three accounts. One is trading account, second is profit and loss account, and third one, that is balance sheet. Don't worry, when you learn chapter number second, three, and fourth, you will know everything related with this. For this particular session, we just have to clear our concepts related with the accounting. If you have any kind of doubts, please mention that in comment box. If you need any kind of clarification related with any of the questions, please put the question in the description box or the comment section. I will definitely answer your question in next video, or in the comment I will suggest you on same time. Okay, that's all for today. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel Commerce by Pratik Majmudar, where I am uploading the videos related with standard 11th and 12th commerce for the subject economics and accountancy. Press the bell icon to get notified for the new and new videos. Okay. Please share it to the maximum, motivate me so I can prepare more and more videos and help you in this duration. Okay. Any suggestion, they are accepted. Please suggest me if I can do something good for you. If you need any clarification in any of the subjects, you can just put a comment. I will try to answer that. That's all for today. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.